restarting right now, so. Just bear with me, my computer's restarting. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call. Mayor Kratzky, I am present. Groko?
Present.
Hufall, absent tonight. Padilla?
Present.
Rose?
Present.
And Eaker is also absent. Do we have any changes to the agenda?
No.
Okay, then I'll take a motion to approve the agenda for tonight.
So move.
We have a motion from Rose. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Groko. Any questions or discussion about the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carried. Moving on to comments, updates, concerns. Do we have any citizens not on the agenda that would like to speak tonight? See any? Any updates from council members? I will update that Steve and I met with Rob Brown today. He's the staff person for Michelle Fischbach's office. We were supposed to meet with him prior to the 4th, and he'd asked to reschedule. So we met with him this afternoon, and very good meeting, I feel like. He just wanted to know more about Gaylord, what's going well, where we're struggling, and he's going to provide us with some resource and contacts. And the other thing I just want to update is right before I came here, KEYC Television was out today to talk to the communities about the tri-line proposal. And there was a comment on Facebook that I just want to address, that the public house is being held at the church that I belong to and where my husband's a pastor, wondering if the church is profiting off this meeting. So I just want to be known to the record. It's not. It's being held free of charge, just like Music Under the Oaks tonight is at the church, free of charge. They don't charge for Miss Gaylord events. The only thing they charge for is elections, since that is an all-day event and takes up most of the space and they can't plan anything else on elections. So just want that on the record so there's no rumors from social media.
And we appreciate it.
Thank you. It's a great handicap building, so it's nice when we can use it, and it's air conditioned. Okay, so that's all I have. Anything else from council members? Okay, city staff.
I've got a couple items. On your table this evening in an envelope, there's a invite to our annual city staff and council picnic scheduled for Monday, August 3rd. Please RSVP by July 24th. Second item is in reference to, as you know, we're advertising for our Public Works Director position. The deadline for applications is next Monday. I was wondering, my question to you is, how do you want to handle the interviews? Does the full council want to do the interviews, or do we want to have representation from the council and myself do the interviews? I'm looking for some direction here as far as what your thoughts are when it comes time.
In the past, we just had representation from at least one of the council members or two.
Well, in my time here, we haven't had a department head position.
Sure.
So that's the only difference. Otherwise, yes, other full-time positions, we're just a couple members of the council.
I'm open to anything. It might be difficult to schedule when all of us are available. I mean, maybe it's something that who's ever available is welcome to attend. I don't know if that throws off things with planning. If all of the council's present at once, are we violating any open meeting laws?
We would have to post it.
Okay.
So yes, it would be an official meeting of the council. for a special meeting.
I think I'm fine with just doing it how we've been doing the other positions, and having 2 council members there just seems like it's easiest for everybody.
I'm okay with that too.
Okay. Is there anybody right now that wants to be a part of that?
If you shoot out the dates, I can look at my calendar. It's really my work schedule.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm always happy to sit on those
Basically, it
too.
just comes down to the schedule.
Yes, sir.
And if anyone else wants to strongly, I'm willing to not either. So
Okay,
I'll help out if I can. If someone else feels strongly about it, they can just reach out to me.
okay. All right, I'll let you all know.
Okay. Moving on to the consent agenda. Did you have anything else, Steve? I'm sorry.
That was it.
Okay. Moving on to the consent agenda, I will take a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
So moved.
We have a motion from Groko. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Rose?
Sure.
I think you were a little, like a half a second quick. Any discussion about the consent agenda? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carried. Communication requests and petitions. We have information in our packet about Music Under the Oaks, the Senior Center newsletter, the library calendar, the end of summer reading party at the library, MVAC's backpack program is coming up. Story time with 4-H in the park, I think that was actually today. Frozen, the Broadway musical at the Winthrop School Auditorium. The library's 50th anniversary during extravaganza, and the UCC Pie and Ice Cream Social during extravaganza. Moving on to department and committee reports and action items. Public Works is the first on the agenda.
Under inflow and infiltration project, don't have too much of an update this evening. Mainly, basically the same information that was provided at the last meeting. Ty, when he was here, he presented or shared that, they completed all but 2 of the final inspections, coming back around for the second time. And so there was 50 that were completed, or there was 50 inspections, 2 were left to be done. And of those, he had stated 10 to 13 were not in compliant. And he stated also that overall, there was about 40 or 50 households that were not in compliant. So as I recall at the last meeting, the council was asking as far as what, a report or some numbers on how many have actually done some work to come into compliance, and I don't have those numbers for this evening, but we'll get that. We know that there are some households that have been working on it.
Okay.
Who's tracking that data now, Steve?
Alex,
Okay.
in our Public Works Department.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next week, do you have anything else on that? Any other questions?
That's all I had to report.
Okay, then we'll move on to the Aquatic Center staff hiring and resignation.
So we have one new hire, Avery Bauer, and there are 2 resignations, Isabel Furring and Emily Furling.
Is there a reason behind it much, or just kind of a scheduling thing?
I honestly don't know. I didn't know they were resigning.
Okay.
What I've heard through the grapevine is scheduling was an issue, just not compatible with other summer things. So I haven't officially heard that. Other guest services staff told me that, so. Okay. So we need a motion to approve the hiring of 1 concession staff person and 2 concession resignations for the Gaylord Area Aquatic Center.
So moved.
We have a motion from Padilla. Do we have a second?
Seconded.
Seconded by Groko. I need further discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carried. Next week, we'll move on to the police department. We have a few things. We'll invite Chief Eichten up to the podium.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
As you can see, we have several items to discuss this evening. The first one would be the police officer resignation of Officer Karen Zimney. She sent me an email about 2 weeks ago informing me that she was turning in her 2-week notice, and she requested that her last working day be July 1st of this year. She's been here about 12 years now, and yeah, we're sad to see her go, sad to lose her, so.
Karen was very well-liked by the community, and she will certainly be missed. So we want to thank her for her 12 years of service and hope we still get to see her around. Okay. So we need a motion to accept the resignation of Police Officer Karen Zimney with her final day of employment being July 1st, 2026.
Make that motion.
Motion from Padilla. Do we have a second?
I'll second with regrets.
Second by Rose. Any discussion or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carried.
Second item I have is stop signs on the west side of town. Mayor Kraske and I have both been approached by citizens and received a couple complaints about uncontrolled intersections on the west part of town. Ty, who's obviously no longer here, and I were tasked with determining, what intersections could use stop signs. Ty and I went out and looked and talked about things, pulled some data, and we think the intersections of 8th and Nicollet, 9th and Nicollet, and 9th and Court, those three intersections could all use stop signs for north and south traffic. The stop signs would be, I guess 8th and 9th are quite very long roads, and a lot of those side streets coming in aren't controlled at all, so this way we figured it would slow down the traffic, especially over on 8th, 9th, and Nicollet. One of the citizens complained, or was talking about how a new daycare came in there, and there's way more kids in the neighborhood now, and with that road being straight with no stop signs, he sees the kids out playing and suggested that some stop signs go up there, and we tend to agree with them, so.
Do you have a price?
Do I have a price? No, I don't.
So we're looking for a motion tonight to place new stop signs at the intersection of 8th and Nicollet, 9th and Nicollet, and 9th and Court.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion from Padilla. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Groko. Any discussion or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carried. Next on the agenda is the NIB, or NEBR's reporting.
Yes, NIBR's reporting.
NIBR's.
So one of Karen, Officer Zimney's duties as, when she worked here was to, do our NIBR's reporting for us, which is the National Incident-Based Reporting System. It's basically the FBI's standard format for law enforcement agencies to report crimes in their jurisdictions or communities. We now have a void until we can hire someone new to replace her to take care of the NIBR's reporting. I spoke with Sheriff and Chief Deputy. They've agreed to do it for the city of Gaylord at a cost of 5 hours per week at the $37.85 an hour, which would be the person doing its wages, totaling $189.25 per week, which is roughly about what we're paying now. It's a couple dollars cheaper than what we're paying Karen to do it. So, yeah, I guess I'm just, I don't know how to do it. Even if I did, I don't think I'd have the time to do it. So we're just look for someone to replace Karen, and the sheriff's office is willing to do it.
Is this something more so temporary or hoping to?
Steve and I talked about that. We're hoping to find a replacement, within the next about 6 months or something, hopefully, depending on, what we put together for the next council meeting, and see who applies.
How are you planning on filling that position?
Well, that's what Steve and I were talking about this afternoon, and that's what we hope to figure out by the next council meeting.
Steve, I know I sent you a message about how I've seen other agencies do it. Is there any possibility that some of our staff can learn that system here and do the NIBRs, or is that bridge too far?
We actually had a little bit of a discussion about that too this afternoon. It's something I guess we're considering. It may be a little challenging to be able to do that, depending on what the other role that might be. It's just something we're going to have to kind of give some more consideration to before we're ready to make a presentation or a recommendation on that.
Sure, because I know Charlie needs that help, but I think that just more admin help than just the NIBRs
Right.
So,
We agree with that.
Sure.
Karen did more than just that.
Mhm.
And so whoever we would hire to replace her from an administration standpoint
Sure.
that would include that among other duties.
Yeah, the day I got her resignation was actually Monday after the 4th of July, and then I was gone on vacation all last week, so we really haven't had a lot of time to figure this out quite yet, so. And anything for the council meeting would have had to been turned in by the Thursday, the 2nd, so.
As you know, her position was somewhat unique from a law enforcement standpoint. She did the administration part, and then she was also a patrol officer. I've never heard of anybody being able to do both before as far as law enforcement, so it's very unique. What we're looking at here is replacing the administration component of that.
Yeah, makes sense.
So yeah, we hope to get it figured out in the next couple of weeks and then present something at the next council meeting.
Any other questions? Otherwise, we're looking for a motion to accept the offer from the sheriff's office to do NIBR's reporting for the Gaylord Police Department at a rate of $189.25 per week.
So moved.
We have a motion from Padilla. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Rose. Any further discussion or comments?
Just to clarify, so Tony, you're just saying basically have a city hall staff learn how to do it, or?
Yeah, so he's talking like an hour a day. Sometimes it might not take that long. Sometimes it might take a little longer. So I don't know if we could implement an additional duty for one of our current staff to kind of learn that. I don't know if the schedule would be available for that for the staff up here. And then Charlie would need to figure out how many hours a day he needs help, so.
I figured that's what you meant. I just was making sure I followed
Yeah.
what you're saying, so. Thank you.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carried. Next on the agenda is the Tri-Line Police Department Concept Open House.
Steve, I don't know if you want to take the lead on this one?
I can start, yep. So in your packet there is the flyer that we've posted as far as the open house, which is scheduled for next Monday, the 20th, at 6 PM at American Lutheran Church. I guess the one thing I wanted to talk about this evening was the meeting structure, as far as how, is it simply just going to be an open house where people can come and go, and as they come in, it's just a Q&A, or do we want to consider doing any kind of presentation at the beginning, or some kind of introduction? I just want to know what your thoughts and feelings are as far as, I don't know, sometimes you just got to play by ear too, about who comes in and what they want. You know, some of them might be, they have researched it or they've been listening in and they're somewhat knowledgeable about what's being proposed already, and they might have some questions, but they want to share their opinion, hopefully.
I think you have to have some information obviously available, you know, coming from like that slideshow. I know it's all estimates and stuff, but at least have a base on where to start, so that way, you know, there's something to at least look at. I mean, obviously, I think it'd be a little bit of Q&A too.
I thought to simplify it and not to make it, I mean, to make it more come and go, and not tie up the, I mean, maybe like, we could have the presentation playing in one room, so if people want to sit and watch it, they can, but, and then people have the opportunity to kind of mix and mingle and approach people and talk to them about it, more casual conversations. I think that would be a little bit easier for the public, not to, you know, plan to come for 2-3 hours.
Yeah.
Just to be able to like ask their specific questions, but yet have all the information available for those that want something more in-depth. And I don't know if that's possible. That was just the idea I had.
Sure.
Well, I think most people are thinking it's just starting at 6 o'clock and they should be there at 6 o'clock because it says 6 o'clock. So if I were just reading it, I'd be like, okay, well, if I'm gonna go, then I should be there by 6 o'clock. So I don't know that there'll be so much come and go and then repeating the same questions over and over again. So I'd be hopeful that it'd be more of a presentation and then there could be the Q&A. And if anyone's uncomfortable in talking as a group, they could wait a little bit and ask questions a little later, or, you know, people could hang around.
'Cause I'm assuming obviously you're gonna probably be there, Charlie. Logan, Sarah, Michael, you, Steve? I mean,
Yeah, I think
Who
they're all
else is
planning on being there. I know, like I said, I was gone out of state all last week, but I know they did add some stuff to the presentation if they were given the opportunity, or I guess we are given the opportunity to present it. Like Steve and I talked, we don't want it to go, have it be like you said, a 3-hour open house type of a deal. But I do know they did add some stuff to the previous presentation, which would be, most of it would be redundant for the people that have already heard it, but it'd be new information for the people that haven't heard it, but, we don't know who's gonna show up or how many people are gonna show up, so it's, very tough to predict how to organize it, I guess.
have we talked to the county about a representative from the county? The sheriff's department possibly
Denley
being-
asked me about it, the chief deputy asked me about it, I'm pretty sure he's planning on being there.
'Cause I mean, not that they'll get a question, but at least, I'm sure it'll come up, what's the sheriff's department think of this? Or what-
Right.
how do they, they'll say, well, pro this or con this, or, at least have
Right.
somebody available.
I'll confirm that with him. I know several members of the sheriff's office have been to every single other previous meeting we've had, so I envision they're coming, but I'll double check and make sure that they know that they're, invited and welcome to be there.
Is there any way we can do something like, I don't know, 10-minute presentation by the tri-line? And then I'd also like to give a presentation, just specific facts about the city of Gaylord and how the merger would affect our residents all around, and the differences that may not be pointed out, I think are important, just from a different perspective. So I don't know if maybe a 10-minute presentation, 15, I don't know. But I don't think that anybody's gonna wanna sit there more than an hour.
And that might be something, I mean, go through our, like you said, presentation first, and then go through a little bit of Q&A, and then, kind of end on I guess if people have got some, within the councils, something that they want to get across. I just don't know whether you do that before a bit of a Q&A or after, but.
I think it might stimulate conversation.
Or see how Q&A goes. If it gets quiet, then, like I said, if anybody's got something to say amongst our group.
I mean, if I can speak, I agree with Tony. I think that both sides need to be presented, the pros and the cons. I guess standing here right now, me just trying to figure out how to get that presentation done in 10 minutes, that's a head scratcher. But I also agree with what Steve and I talked about earlier. We shouldn't be up there for, an hour and a half either. So I don't know what information to leave in, what information to cut out. I guess it depends on the knowledge of the people that show up. But that's,
How long do you think the presentation is with the changes?
well, I saw it today, went through it, and it's
too long.
38 pages. So, I mean, that's
Way
going to
too
take
long.
a
I think,
considerable
I
amount of
like the
time.
10-minute too. I mean, there should be a way of condensing it down.
Is there any way we can take some of the basic information out and do like a one-page
Handout,
handout, and when people come in, hand it to them?
I think so,
And then go into like the more details in the presentation?
yeah. Some of the questions will come out and bring out the things that they want to know. I think, I don't want to keep people there all night to get their answers to their questions and be able to give their input. I think we should have like a target of about an hour to hour and a half meeting.
I agree, and I also want to leave time for people to individually ask questions. Some people aren't comfortable asking questions in large groups, so I also want time for that kind of just for people to approach any of us and have a conversation with us that want to.
I mean, if you guys ultimately decide we get, 10, 15 minutes, we'll get it figured out.
Okay.
I think we could ask the question at the beginning too, is like how many people have seen the presentation or feel like they're pretty informed? It might give you a little better idea, like nobody really knows the facts about what's going on, and then we know we have to target some points a little more, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, even if we have a QR code or a link, you can pull it up on your phone if somebody wants to look through the slideshow on their own. I mean, that could be another option. Basically leave all 38 or so slides available.
Sure.
Because that way, I mean, if somebody might ask their questions, but you can kind of say, well, here's a whole presentation. I mean, obviously, you're probably not going to read it all sitting here now, but if you want to go home and do a little bit more and get back,
Yeah.
at least make that information available, but then allow them through the Q&A and stuff like that to get some of these other questions out of
I
So-
do like the handout. I do like
Yeah.
that there's something.
So maybe just do the handouts then, kind of by the door, and then just kind of have some areas set up where they can talk. People can come and ask questions.
And not do any type of presentation? Is that what you're saying?
That's kind of what it sounds like.
I think there
Or
needs to be
minimal.
something,
A
but
little
yeah,
short
10
bullet,
Some
yeah,
kind
if
of
you can-
introduction.
yes.
Yeah.
Get an introduction, who's involved, what's kind of the idea, what started
Yep.
it, you know, and at least get the base.
And this
then-
is our meeting, so, I mean, the other chiefs are there for support as needed. So we take the lead on this meeting.
Back to the presentations?
Yeah, I think.
Well, but a short, like,
Yeah,
not
not
30,
short.
just if we could brief it down to just a couple,
Like
like.
10
just get the-
minutes or something?
Get the base,
Yeah.
and then,
Yeah,
but allow,
Something, so, because
have
some people
the,
may not know.
but have the full presentation available, like I said, a link
Yeah.
or something, where we can say, yep, if you want a longer version.
Maybe in the handout, we could put in there a link or something like that.
Yeah, that would be nice.
And then do like the presentation, and then kind of allow a Q&A, and then allow a little bit of discussion, maybe, I guess, Q&A coming from the council. Obviously, if Tony's got something or anybody else. That way, everybody can get their feelings out and see where everybody's at. 'Cause, I mean, the goal is to just see where the community's at. I mean, whether we're for or against it, just knowing what people, get information out there and seeing what the city feels.
Well, and I just want to
No,
make
and
sure they
that's-
know that this, I mean,
Yeah.
I just don't know that other than what's in the paper, like, you know, we haven't had a good turnout when we, you know, I just feel like the public's entitled to know. So, and I just want to get their feedback, so. However we do it, it'll be fine, and if we need to last minute adjust, we will do it.
I guess, from my standpoint, I just need to, I think that what Steve's saying is correct. This is our meeting, this is our city, these are our residents. So I think that there needs to be more than one side of the story being told. How does it affect our residents? And that's what I want to make sure is clearly presented to anybody that shows up. There's always ways that you can make something look like the greatest thing since sliced bread, but there is some things that are attached to this idea that the residents need to be aware of. So if Tri-Line gets 10 minutes, I would ask the same. Just here's facts. It's not going to be opinions, it'll be facts on how this directly affects Gaylord residents.
And that being said, I just want to make sure, I mean, Tony, you are more than welcome to speak, but also if any other council members, I know we have two missing here, want to speak, they should be able to too.
Oh, absolutely.
So I just want to make that clear. So if any of you want to prepare anything and talk, go ahead.
When would you need that stuff, Steve, so you can push it out?
As far as,
The information, because are you gonna push it out ahead of time on the
we,
web?
no, we'll
Facebook
just
site?
distribute it at the meeting.
Okay. You're not gonna put it on Facebook then or anything ahead of time?
Maybe
I think
afterwards,
a link on
Afterwards, I
Facebook.
would be-
afterwards, it would be helpful for those that couldn't make
Yeah,
it.
I think
just so
afterwards.
People knew what they
Okay.
missed.
So, we only got a few days here.
Sure, that's fine. Uh,
Is this gonna be recorded in any way?
I don't think there's, I've talked to
Yeah.
Paul, and this is in their fellowship hall. They don't have any recording capability in that.
I mean,
that
even if it's on
room.
an iPad or something? Right.
That would be.
It'd just be nice to have a way of, you know, or taking a minutes of kind of general questions being answered with a, you know, because like we kind of said, if people can't make it, I mean, there's certain questions that might get asked. Obviously, you know, Tony's kind of talking about some of these facts that should be put out there that might not be in the presentation. And whether it's recorded or at least written down in a brief summary of the questions that get asked.
Yeah, we can always take notes.
Because I've had a few
sure.
people asking me about it being recorded.
Who's in charge of our city Facebook page?
Jolene does all the postings.
Okay. I mean, does everyone have access to it? Does she have the password? I mean, how's it set up?
She does it all pretty much. I mean,
Okay, 'cause
Ty always had access to, it
'Cause
was under him, actually.
We record we live stream our church services, so like there is an iPad and a tripod, but we would have to log onto like the city's Facebook page to live stream it. So I would need someone with city access to log in.
Okay,
And then it can be live streamed.
okay.
Yeah, or record, whatever, just.
I don't know
What do we do?
recording it, like how you transfer, I'm just.
Doesn't
I'm
it
just saying I'm
stay
open,
there?
I just think.
What?
Doesn't it just stay there once you live stream something?
Yeah, then it just stays on your page. But I don't know how we would record it and transfer it with an iPad. I'm sure there's a way.
Yeah,
I just don't know.
And maybe, I mean,
Getting at the age where my daughter has to do all my IT stuff, so.
see if maybe Winthrop or Gibbon has, I don't know, every town seems to have a different device on how they record meetings and stuff.
I know Winthrop has OWL, I don't know what that is. I think, are we going over there tomorrow at 1? Steve? Was that the email I read, or did I read that wrong? So I think he was gonna. Oh, okay.
I can reach out to the cable committee, Wayne, and ask him if he has something he can make available. I'm sorry. Right, but he might have some iPads available to record with.
I guess if we could look into it, figure out a way to, I just, like I said, I've had several people ask me if it's gonna be recorded,
Sure.
so.
I know that was the original thought, that hopefully it would be. We're just trying to, I guess, figure that out.
We will figure it out between now and then, so.
Okay, perfect.
We're just gonna have to do some checking. So if anyone has a good solution, just reach out to Steve or Charlie, and we'll go from there.
Perfect.
Okay, anything else about the open house? Okay, then we can move on to unfinished business. We have.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Charlie. Sorry, I kind of cut you off. Ordinance number 385, an ordinance granting CenterPoint Energy Resources Corporation a franchise to construct, operate, repair, and maintain a natural gas energy for public and private use within the city of Gaylord. And this was under Mark. Or, do you,
No, it's under unfinished business.
oh,
Yeah, I thought it was Mark too.
yeah, it says Mark's name at the bottom of it, so I thought
Yeah.
Oh,
he
pardon me.
needed to present something.
I can handle it. This is our second reading of this ordinance. So last meeting on June 17th, we held a public hearing, and then the council had the first reading of the ordinance and adopted it. So tonight is our second reading of this ordinance that basically is renewing the franchise agreement with CenterPoint Energy. We've had a franchise agreement with them for over 20 years, and so basically the way these ones are set up, their term is 20 years. And so this one just expired. And also with this ordinance is a summary of it for publication purposes too, for your consideration and approval.
So tonight, we need a motion to adopt ordinance number 385.
So move.
We have a motion from Rose. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Groko. Any questions, comments, or discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carried. Next, we need a motion to approve summary of ordinance number 385 and its publication.
So moved.
Motion from Padilla. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Rose. Any discussion? Not. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carried. Under new business, we have Ally here with Abdo to present our 2025 financial statement audit. So welcome, Ally. Or Ellie.
Yeah, perfect.
It says Ally, but I'm like, you're Ellie. I've talked to you on the phone.
Yeah, perfect. That's okay. Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Ellie Frederickson, and I am a senior associate with Abdo, and I helped complete the City of Gaylord's 2025 financial statement audit. The purpose of this presentation is to just go through those audit results as well as touch on any key financial information that occurred throughout the year. To start, our responsibilities as auditors is to give an opinion on the financial statements, and for the year of 2025, we gave an unmodified or a clean opinion. Basically, nothing came to our attention that indicated the financial statements were materially misstated in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles.
Ellie, can you hang on a second? Your
Yep.
presentation's not showing up on the screen, so we're trying to figure that out.
Yep, not a problem.
Okay.
Okay.
Just go
Good.
on then. We'll just look at our screens.
Okay, perfect. Another part of our audit is we're also required to do some testing and issue a report regarding the Minnesota legal compliance required by the Office of the State Auditor. This includes things like contracting and bidding, public indebtedness, claims and disbursements, and through those tests, we noted one instance of noncompliance. For fiscal year 2025, there were 4 findings. The first one being limited segregation of duties related to payroll, disbursements, cash receipts, utility billing, investments, and journal entries. This is a very common finding for cities your size. It's just due to a smaller finance department within the city. There's only so many people that can do those different tasks. And then preparation of financial statements. This is another common finding for cities your size. It just states that Abdo prepares the financial statements and emphasizes the importance of the city staff to review those. Then we had a material audit adjustment. This is because the October payroll register had not been posted within the accounting system, and county revenue had been recorded within the incorrect fund for the reimbursement for the CASA 21 project. And then the final finding was a legal compliance finding, and this is due to multiple quotes not received for a new fire truck. This is a look at the general fund balance. It had a steady increase in general fund balance expenditures. The policy is to maintain 40% of next year's budgeted expenditures within unassigned fund balance. You're consistently slightly below policy until 2024, and then policy had then been met in 24 and 25. Next is a look at comparing the general fund budget to actual results. The left column being the final budget, the middle being actual expenditures, and the right being the variance within the two. Revenues came in about $152,500 over, and this is due to an escrow not budgeted for at the time of budget approval, and small cities funds received but unbudgeted. Actual expenditures came in over budget about $38,000, and there were no significant individual areas of budget variance noted. Overall, the general fund had a positive change in fund balance for fiscal year 25. Next is a look at your general fund revenues by type. Tax collections increased due to an increase in the general fund tax levy in 25. Intergovernmental had a slight decrease, but it was consistent with 23. And then charges for services category, there's really nothing significant to note there. It's been pretty consistent the last 3 years. The other category looks lower than 2024, but that was just due to some hail damage insurance reimbursements received in 2024. And now the other category is consistent with 23. It looks like 24 is just kind of a one-off year. Next is a look at your general fund expenditures by type. All categories were consistent with prior years with a slight increase due to inflation, and the only area that had a slightly higher increase was public safety, and this was due to an increase in salaries and related benefits within the police department. And the other category had a slight decrease, and that's just due to those corresponding hail damage expenditures in 24. But again, 25 is consistent with 23 like we saw in the previous slide. Here's a look at your special revenue fund balances. Special revenue funds have either a restricted or a committed revenue source. The only significant activity to note here is an increase in special fire, and that was due to donations received for equipment. And then this is just a quick look at your Economic Development Authority fund balances. And then this is a look at your capital project fund balances. The only significant activity to note here is a decrease in the 2024 street improvement fund, and this is due to finishing of that project, so the fund was then closed. And then there was a decrease in fund balance in the CASA 21 reroute project, and this is just due to some increase in expenditures as the project had been advancing. Next slide is a quick snapshot of your debt service funds, including all of your outstanding bonds, cash and investments included within those funds, total assets within those funds, and outstanding debt related to those funds, and then the maturity dates of each of those funds. And then the next slide, this is a quick look at your debt service payments, including which portion are principal and which portion are interest within the next 10 years. you can see that those payments are starting to decrease in 2029, and then as bonds fall off, they start to decrease as well after that. Okay, and then each of the following enterprise funds are all set up, fund slides are all set up the same way. These take a look at the comparing cash balances to the minimum target balance, which is debt service costs plus 50% of operating costs, as well as operating cash receipts compared to operating cash disbursements. In the next few slides, we'll want to see operating receipts, which is that orange bar, higher than payments and debt payments, which is the black and yellow bar. Specifically for the water fund, cash balances are steady above the targeted cash balance. And as you can see, receipts and disbursements remain consistent throughout the last 4 years. Typically, we'll want to see cash reserves in those enterprise funds, so that way repairs and maintenance and potentially projects can be funded internally. Next, we have a look at the sewer fund. Receipts and disbursements are steady for the last 4 years with slight increases in operating receipts due to increased rates. Operating receipts are consistently covering operating disbursements and debt payments. So with that, we see a corresponding cash balance increase, and it is also above that minimum target balance, which is good to see. Next, we have a look at the stormwater fund. Operating receipts are consistently increasing the last 4 years due to increased rates. Operating receipts decreased from 24, which was a bit higher due to that County Ditch 55 repair expenses occurring within the fiscal year. Operating receipts are break even within 2025, but it's important to note here that they're not consistently covering operating disbursements and debt payments, which is why you can see cash decreasing below. And however, it is still above the minimum target balance. Then we have a look at your refuse fund. Refuse operating receipts and disbursements are consistent the last 4 years, consistently in an operating surplus. Cash reserves are continuing to increase throughout the years, but it is still below that minimum target cash balance. However, we do see the cash reserves climbing. The next 2 slides are look at your key performance indicators. This is a specific look at tax rate and a tax rate mix compared to your peers. Something we're seeing amongst most of our clients is that 2022 rates were higher due to market value increases. However, they've leveled out and remained steady since, which is also true for Gaylord. Tax rates are higher than your cities your size, but are consistent within cities in your county. And then the left graph is the tax rate mix, which just gives a little bit more detail on what rates Gaylord residents are paying for in other jurisdictions, including city, county, school, and special. And then finally, we have debt. This is another key performance indicator. The state of Minnesota is slow to release information, so we only have information from 2023 and prior. The city of Gaylord has chosen to bond frequently for projects, so overall the city has a higher level of debt per capita and current debt expenditures, which isn't necessarily bad to see either. And then this is the rest of your audit team. Thanks for listening. If you have any questions, I can try to answer them now. Otherwise, Steve and Lori have my contact information for any that might pop up later.
So we'll see like the water rates adjust, this is for Steve. That
Okay.
water rate adjustment should be in 2026 then, correct?
Correct, yes. Yeah. When you created the tier system, that was in January.
Those areas that we're non-compliance with, is there any penalties from anybody, or is it just a dang, like, fix it?
Nope,
Better?
just to fix it. And we did discuss with Steve, and it has been addressed and will be fixed going forward.
Any other questions for Ellie? Thank you
Perfect.
for
Thank
all
you.
your hard work on this. Thank you.
Thank you.
You are welcome to stay, but you are also free to go.
Thanks.
Okay, next on our agenda is 11B under new business, Co-North Homes LLC manufacturing home additions to El Nuevo Mobile Home Park.
I'll do a little
Sure.
intro on this first, and I'll introduce our guests. Coal North Homes contacted me, or the city. They actually submitted 4 building permit applications for the installation of 4 new homes out in the trailer park. These would be 2026 models. All of them are the same size, 15 by 70 or 1,050 square feet. Currently, the park has, there's room out there for 30 sites or 30 units, and about half of them are occupied at this time. Basically, Coal North plans to move in these homes this week. Maybe they already did move them in. I guess we'll find out here. But the reason this is coming up in front of you this evening is our zoning code currently doesn't have any language in it pertaining to the trailer park or trailer parks in general. I've talked to Mark Oslin, our city attorney, and basically he concurs that right now what our park is considered a legal non-conforming use, meaning that it's basically been grandfathered in. So everything can continue as is. It's when we start to extend it. I asked him about that, and he felt that legally we could allow them to extend the use. He felt that the current legal nonconforming use could be extended to allow additional units to be placed in the park. And I wish he was here to try and address that a little bit more, but basically his opinion is that legally we can allow them to install those units. But he concurs with the Planning and Zoning Commission. They talked a little bit about this briefly last week, and they're recommending that we would consider adopting or inserting some language into our zoning code that would address manufactured home parks, especially considering we have one. So I did talk to Anthony Fernandez, who is right here of Co-North Homes. I asked him if he could be here tonight and just kind of present some information about their company, their involvement in the current co-op that exists with the park and what that entails, and just kind of give us some brief overview as far as possibly what the vision of the park is in the future. So with that, Anthony, maybe you want to come up and introduce yourself, please.
Thank you very much, Steve. Mayor, Council, my name is Anthony Fernandez. I'm the real estate specialist for Co-North and our subsidiary, which is Co-North Homes LLC. I guess why don't we start with a little bit of background about the organization. We're a nonprofit. We've been around since 1999, and what we do is we specialize in resident-owned communities, meaning that residents actually own the community. And they own that in a cooperative business structure. What we do as an organization is once the residents are able to buy the communities that they live in, we provide them ongoing technical assistance, essentially like you all do, having meetings, balancing budgets and whatnot, making sure that they're in compliance with all of the things that need to be to run their business. About 3 years ago, we decided that a part of the ecosystem of mobile home parks, manufactured home communities, is that we need to keep new stock coming in and replenish what's going on there. So we became a licensed manufactured home dealer in the state of Minnesota, and we're also, I brought Dan with me, who's with Mobile Home Restoration. He's our licensed set installer as well. We only work in our cooperatives, so we don't outface to the general public. We're not soliciting business to anybody else. We work specifically within our cooperatives. And so a lot of times what you'll see is, there's a lot of blight in some of these communities, right? And what we want to do is we want to bring in new stock, give the residents the potential to move into a newer home, or obviously people from outside the community as well. And then what we do is we're slowly kind of turning over these communities. We're constantly at the state of Minnesota asking for funds for removal of old homes because abandonment is such an issue in a lot of mobile home communities, right? Where people it basically becomes their homes become worthless, and they don't know what to do. They have to leave, so they just essentially abandon them there, and then they can sit for years, causing, essentially an eyesore and a blight on the community. To date, at El Nuevo Amanecer, we have helped the residents get grant money in excess of $1.1 million. And what that included was all new sewer and water that was done in 2025. We started the project in 2024. It was finished up in 2025. That includes all electrical pedestals, upgrades on the electrical pedestals, and then also lot prep for some of the vacant sites, including the 4 that we've been working on as well. I know it's a lot of information, and a lot of times, a lot of the questions go back to like, what is a cooperative? And it's essentially the residents own the community. And we have found throughout the years is that it helps stabilization in these communities so that, an owner can't just come in and jack up rent and then displace people. So it's a limited equity partnership, and where people are, they know that, hey, our garbage bill is this per month, our water is this per month. How do we stabilize our lot rents? Another thing with this project specifically is that this coincides with a mortgage product that is administered through NeighborWorks Home Partners. They're one of our partners in this, and that is up to a 30-year loan, up to $20,000 in down payment assistance, and it's at currently 6%. That's the rate. So those terms are much better than what you'll see in traditional manufactured home lending out there. And we're even at a point right now where currently we have somebody approved for a loan for one of the models once they get set in there. Hopefully, should that be the way that this council decides. So, I guess I'm like to open it up to you all to see if you have any questions for me that I can answer.
I guess you kind of hit the nail on the head as far, what's your time frame look like? Because you talked about slowly transitioning them out due to blight, which there is significant blight and
Yep.
dilapidation in that park, and it's an issue the city's had ongoing for years.
Yeah.
And you talk about slowly switching them out. What is an actual time frame of getting that done? Because I know, I drove by there today, there's a number of trailers that are very, very well past their,
Yeah.
honestly, I don't know how they're hardly habitable.
Yep.
And my worry, I think it's great housing, and I think, obviously this is good for, I've seen some of the pictures, they look nice, I think it'd
Yeah.
be a great thing, but you're putting these nice houses onto a park where there's this level of blight already, and I don't want to see this investment then go downhill with everything else when it seems like rules or, just things are not being enforced with the current trailers.
Yeah.
And like I said, this goes back years that the city's been dealing with this, before you guys are a co-op and everything. And I just don't want to see that progress go away, that we've gotten to where it is now.
Exactly.
And like I said, I'd like to see a plan of moving along as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and thank you for that comment. To be honest with you, we can't just kick somebody out of their house because it doesn't look good. What the tools that the cooperative has is to enforce their rules, and we're getting to that point as well. But as an organization, it's kind of the broken window theory in a way, that if you start to get new stock into the community, and then people start to care a little bit more about enforcing rules and regulations because they can see a direct impact that when we're marketing these homes, and I'm a licensed real estate broker, and we market them on the MLS and MH Village and all of the proper channels. So another thing that we're working on as well organizationally are some of those homes where affordability really is an issue for people, are some of the rehab products that we're starting to source out via the state for grant funding for those people. Because we would love to get the person that it looks like, it's like, how are you occupying this house, right? You can see that and you're like, wow, this is You know, this is, it's tough to see that, but we have to do everything that we can cautiously, right? Because we really can't just displace somebody because of that. So, but we're working as an organization to have all the tools necessary so that we can offer them.
What kind of rules do you have as far as blight?
Well,
properties?
the community has rules and regulations in terms of how things should be kept up, kind of like an HOA, like if you're familiar at all with HOAs and how that would work. So it's something that we try to stress on these boards, because again, nobody likes to be the bearer of bad news for some of these people. These are their neighbors, and sometimes they're their family members even. And so we're really trying to, you know, as we bring in the new, you know, we're really trying to emphasize this to our communities that we work with. So, I mean, I wish I could snap my fingers and, you know, make it all better, but you know, I think the alternate is that we do nothing, and then it just becomes worse, and that's what we're scared of organizationally, because we're in this so that these communities succeed and that the overall community succeeds as well, because, you know, our success is predicated on their success, which is inevitably your success, and
Does everybody that is currently in that park part of this co-op, all the current units?
I do not have those specific. You do not have to be a member of the cooperative. When it was purchased in 2023, you have to have kind of 50+1 type rule in order for us to move forward with the financing that we offer. I don't know the exact numbers right now, but there are a strong majority. Everybody that comes in that we sell a new home to, they do have to be a member of the cooperative.
So those new people have to abide by the co-op, not the existing, if they don't want to?
Yeah, they have to be a member of the cooperative. They have to pay their joining fee, and then ultimately their lot rent, of course, because that's how the ecosystem really works. That's how they pay their mortgage.
So the property, will it still belong to the co-op, and then the person is buying the trailer only, or is there any distinction between that, or is it?
It's essentially what the cooperative is that you cooperatively own the land altogether. It's limited equity though, so if they go and sell, they're not like, hey, you know, our property value went up by 20%, I'm gonna take out my percentage of that 20%. It doesn't work that way. But they will own their home, and it's titled through Department of Motor Vehicles. That's how manufactured homes are titled. And then you are a member of the cooperative, and that cooperative, you know, El Nuevo Amanecer is an official business name that is the owner of that piece of property.
But the individuals own the trailer.
Correct. Yep.
And
So
then
yeah,
they
there's
just pay rent to the co-op.
Yep, correct. Yeah.
Is there, you talked about you had one person right now that is approved for financing. Is there anybody there that currently is living that could potentially buy one of these new units, or?
We are really working on that, you know, and what we've seen in our other communities that we're working in too is that unfortunately sometimes there's a disconnect where, you know, you think like, hey, we need two years of your tax returns, and they're like, I don't know where those are, you know. So there are some barriers there, and we try to work with them as much as possible in order to do that stuff. But sometimes their financial literacy is not at par with what you all might be used to in a normal transaction, and that's a part of our process too. But we are, you know, this will be part of our 16th home that we've placed since the end of 2025, all the way from in the metro to up to Moorhead. We're currently involved with 17 communities in Minnesota, with 2 more coming online by about September that we helped purchase. But yeah, we actively, that's our first kind of target market, are the people that live in the communities.
The co-op money that is received, is it for maintenance on the trailers as well as
It's,
take care of the property, the grass and the trash? And
doesn't typically stretch that far to maintenance on trailers. It literally is your mortgage, you know, your grounds, your, you know, all of the little ancillary things that add up, right? So every cooperative has to have a specific reserve for things, but typically they're not in the space to be able to go and offer these rehabilitation. And that's why we're at the state really working hard on a mechanism for that. And we're pretty confident. I mean, we're constantly at the state capitol advocating, and that's how we were able to get an infrastructure of, you know, $1.1 million so far, so.
Have you given out any written warnings or anything for blightness?
I don't know as much of their daily business, but they certainly have, they're actively really trying to do it.
So to kind of feed off of what he was just saying, as a co-op, you sell this trailer to somebody and it's nothing but problems, it becomes dilapidated fast. Can you ask them to leave? Do you have any powers to make them leave?
I mean, they have, in their bylaws, they do. Of course, it has to get to be a pretty bad situation. As I'm sure you all know, it's hard to evict a homeowner. Mm-hmm. It's easier to, you know, homeowners just have more rights than like a renter would.
But just to
Yep.
time out there, they're renting the space from you guys though.
Yes. Yeah.
And so it's not like you're evicting them from a house.
Yeah.
It's from the property. They can take their trailer, you know, they can go do whatever they want with their own trailer, but it's
Yeah.
still your property or the co-op's property that it's
Yeah.
on. Therefore, the co-op still should have a standard of rules that for blightness or for, you know, whatever it might be, that get followed. Just like in an apartment, you know, if I was wrecking an apartment unit, or if I was constantly being obnoxious or not following my building's rules,
Yeah.
there's a reason to come after me to evict me. Or if there's dilapidation within the apartment unit under state law, you know, if there's mold or some sort of safety issue or health issue, you 100% are able to evict a person. And just by listening to what you're saying is it seems like when it comes to how they function day to day, you have no part of that. Because you kind of said earlier that you don't know how they're doing it as far as enforcing rules and sending out written notices.
Yeah.
And so my worry is now we're going to allow, which like I
Yeah.
said, I'm happy to the point that it's at. But I just do not want to see all the time and effort that the city's putting into trying to get that place a nicer facility, not only for the city, but for the people who live there. And then now to kind of give up control. And it's a little bit of a leverage point. And I really wish Mark was here to have a little bit of insight on this. So it's hard to make a decision without hearing his opinion. And I'm all for housing. And like I said, I can't compliment you guys enough with the grant and with these they look nice. But I don't want to go backwards and see it be a waste of time the past 15 years. I mean, that predates all of us on council, that this has been an ongoing thing. And so I think, Tony, you're maybe following where I'm coming from too, as far as making sure this is enforced and making sure it doesn't become, now we're adding to the issue again.
Well, I think, I mean, I get what you guys are saying, but I also feel like in today's housing world, like the housing, we have to look at all kinds of housing, and mobile homes are one of those. You know, the families that live out there with homes that are old and probably should be, you know, decommissioned, a lot of those families live in poverty, and we can't force them to, it's a home. It's a place for them to live and to, you know, raise their family. And, you know, I've been in some of those homes and over the years, and, you know, they at least the ones I've been in, they tried to make it as nice as possible inside, but you're also, you know, they're people with limited resources, like a lot of our families in our community. So, I'm glad the park has been cleaned up as much as it has over the years. It used to be much worse. I'm excited about the idea of maybe new housing, more options. And I think that, those other homes, if they become unsafe, uninhabitable, that's a bridge we have to cross when we get to that.
But how do we know they're not? And like, I'm looking out, obviously, for the
Well, we have a
aesthetic,
building
but even-
inspector.
But does the building inspector inspect trailers though? Because they
I don't know.
technically own
Maybe
the
that's a
trailer. Because I'm
conversation.
looking out for the safety and health of the people living there too. Because I agree with you. Obviously, some people have more resources than others. But at the same time, I don't think it's right for the city to allow, somebody to live in something that's subpar to the point that it's borderline a safety issue, if that's what the case is. I don't know. I guess I've never been in, but driving around and looking at some of these trailers, some of them have aluminum tape on the sides holding them together. It just, I don't know.
But then what do we do?
That's what I'm saying. That's why I wish Mark was here to, I guess, give us some insight on it. Because like I said, I want to work with him. I don't want to continue allowing, honestly, a possible safety and health hazard. And then adding something to it that we have no idea what rules are being enforced or what is being done to actually keep progressing this place. Beyond, obviously this project, but, they even said themselves about slowly switching them out. Well, shoot, you got 15 trailers in there. Is this 2 a year? Then we're talking about.
Well, it might be, but then.
2 a
it's
year
2
is
It's
progress.
better than what we're doing
Correct,
right
and that's why I
now.
want to know what the plan, what are we doing?
I think, there was a time when we did talk about, let's see what we can do about this trailer park, what we can improve, trying to get out to those houses. But as we quickly found out, you can't just displace people. You have to have another place for them to go then. So, I feel like we're kind of tied in this area where we all, and I'm sure they want it better, but limited incomes, things that need to be done to houses. There's houses in town that things need to be done to that aren't done to. So I don't
Absolutely.
feel like it's any different. But maybe there's some room for some improvement here and somebody that can help with some of the financing things, trying to help those people get over some of those hurdles of the logistics of what you need to be able to apply for, loans and grants.
And I would like to make a motion to go forward, but I just want conditions of some kind, just to, like I said, come up with I shouldn't even say long-term, but just come up with a legitimate plan of, how are we gonna,
Yeah,
I guess
will
move
there
forward.
be like a representative from that co-op? Will there be like a head person of that co-op?
She was gonna come with me tonight, but she, at the last minute, could not get off of work.
Because that would be, I think, one thing that we could maybe include is that they would come, with updates for us as well and information so that we can kind of have a finger on what's going on, because right now we don't know anything.
Is there a potential that somebody could, one person could buy these units and then rent them out? Or is it all gonna
No.
be different families?
It's against the bylaws.
Good.
Yeah, that's better.
It's such a difficult decision because you understand that the people are struggling. It'd be nice if you could just move people to those new trailers and just give it to them and let them make the payments, but obviously you can't. The other side of it is if they own those trailers that are in disarray right now, you don't really, there's really nothing that you can do unless they rent them. If they're a renter, then there's different things that you can do, but.
Yeah, and just to get back to, I think the mayor kind of spoke on it too. It's like the people that do have the tape on the outside, it's not by choice. It's because they don't have the resources to, I'm sure that they would love to have brand new siding and look fine, but it's a circumstance. And that's why we're just working diligently and trying to get as much funds for removal of homes and placing in new, and like I said, really looking at the strategy of rehabilitation. You've got a lot of homes in a lot of these communities throughout the state of Minnesota that were built pre the HUD code, which I believe was 1976. So it was kind of like all bets are off of what was there, but the homes that are being placed now are, any piece of equipment that you find in one of our homes or any new manufactured home, you're gonna find in a stick-built home. 2x6 walls, floors, gabled roofs,
Oh, they've come a long way. There are some beautiful mobile
Absolutely.
homes out there.
So, I mean, we kind of referenced a building inspector. Could we, I mean, move forward with it, but add a condition that, I guess, having the building inspector or just generally having the existing units inspected for health and safety risks? I mean, is that something that can be done?
I don't even know, I mean, that's a conversation we would have to talk to Darren. I don't want to
Well,
commit
and
him to
that's
something
where-
if he doesn't have
I don't know if he has authority, just,
the authority,
I
yeah.
was gonna say, is that even
I want to come
legal?
into your house and look at it.
Yeah.
But you can, I mean, even from the outside, because you can, on the outside look. I mean, obviously you can't get into
don't know
it
if that's
totally,
his
but I
call.
just don't,
Late
I
night?
struggle
Still
with
private
allowing, I mean,
property.
I get it's a area, and that's where, again, I reference him not
Right.
being here, but I,
Yeah, as
There's obvious
a
health risks.
homeowner, you know, there's hoarders out there, there's
correct.
people that have,
The difference is this is a
Inside.
trailer and a leased property though. Just as much as like an apartment is obviously rented too, you know, they're all three different types of housing. And I just don't know without,
yes, I hear what you're saying.
but I don't want to give up the, I guess, leverage of making sure that we're making sure these are safe and not, you know, a risk to the community. But is this, I mean, this is something that's got to be decided tonight, or is this something where we can talk to the building inspector and Mark over the next, between now and the next council meeting? Just to figure out what the, I mean, I'm sure for you it's now better than never, but I just want to make sure we're heading in the right direction as a city.
From my perspective, we're licensed for 30 units. You know, we have 16 of them occupied and 14 vacant. We have every intent to bring in 14 homes. I don't have a specific time frame of when all those 14 will go in. You know, we have a lot. We have over $1 million of infrastructure work that we've helped garner. I'm kind of like I'm not. I kind of know why I'm here, but I kind of don't know. Typically, it's just you pull a building permit and we're ready to go. But I understand that there was maybe just some things that happened along the way where it did not get included. So that's where I'm hoping to get clarity on moving forward and being able to just pull a building permit like we typically do, because you know the state says that we're not adding units, we're not adding addresses or lots or anything like that. We're literally operating within the confines of what we've been approved to do. And in 2023, when the residents purchased their community, it was a use that was totally permitted. So I'm hoping to get resolution very soon. I'm going to have homes maybe tomorrow coming in from Redwood Falls. So we really want to get things going. So.
Are all the homes manufactured in Redwood Falls?
Yeah, out of Clayton, they're Schult brand.
They do good work, that's why I asked.
And he does good work, and and we supply them with washer, dryer, blinds. They've got concrete sidewalks. I mean, you go into most manufactured home parks, and people are like pole vaulting over puddles, and we really try to make them look as nice and clean as possible. I mean, it's really important to us. It's all our organization is about. That's where we have got one specific mission, and that's cooperative housing in the manufactured world. And we're kind of a branch of a larger organization called Rock USA, resident-owned community that started out in New Hampshire, and it's all we do. It's all we do. So.
And then you stay involved with this community.
Absolutely.
Like you said, you
Yeah.
plan to move more mobile homes in, so I assume you stay involved and you stay active in helping these residents and, to get whatever they need to make improvements to their current manufactured home if they need that, or to help them get grants or secure funding, or figure out how they can afford to make payments to move into the newer ones.
Correct. I'm not like in the day-to-day of the nuances of the cooperative management per se. They do have a professional management company, but I'm the real estate guy. So all the things that you stated, yes.
So the
when
management company then helps the person that's trying to manage
correct.
this unit here in Gaylord.
Yep. So like all the day-to-day management stuff.
Also with-
They'll do that, and I think just to the point of enforcement of rules, that's really, it's a, you know, we have our summit, yearly summit coming up on September, and that's like one of my presentations is like, we got to enforce these rules, guys. And it's tough because they're your neighbors, they're your friends. And I get it, you know, we want to, but that's the emphasis is like, hey, that new person that comes in, they don't want to see this stuff. They want you to pick up your dog waste. They want you to do things. We've got rules for a reason, and rules are nothing unless they're enforced. And but these are just the real world challenges.
I know you said the map, these new homes you're planning on putting on like the east part of the.
Yeah, I'm
Basically,
just
they're
trying
kind of separated a little bit from the rest of the
They
group.
are.
I mean, you kind of have a group and then a couple sporadic ones. You guys are, I guess, on that third road, that dead end
Isn't it
one,
the
if that makes
last
sense.
row on the east,
Yeah,
right?
yep.
Yeah.
So Steve, if we go forward with this is that, if they come back and want to do 4 more next year, it would have to be the same process, right? Unless we do some zoning things, or, I mean, we're.
Yeah, unless we adopt something into our zoning code. I'm only bringing this forward this time. I don't think they'll necessarily have to come forward again because if you approve this tonight, you're basically agreeing that this is a legal non-conforming use, that they can extend or they can continue to fill what they're already licensed for out there as far as the size of the park is concerned. In the meantime, then we'd like to get something into our code. But basically, at this point, if you agree to it, they wouldn't necessarily have to come back again. You get the same approval.
So there wouldn't be any need for them to come back to add more houses in the future to allow us to try and ask questions or get updates on where things are at.
Yeah, they wouldn't unless you could make a request where they could come back and give you, some insight as far as what their plans for the park are, if there's going to be any changes in the future, any updates, that kind of thing. Otherwise, we're limited to just simply building permit applications.
I also would hope that the manager could give us those things.
That's what I was
Would
gonna
know if there's new park and trailers that are gonna be coming in, would know some of those things.
Well,
so
Coal
that-
North, I think, as a realtor, they're going to be fairly involved in that component of it.
Yeah, and I am extremely open to anybody reaching out about what's going on. I mean, that is an absolute. I mean, this is not, we're not development in a vacuum by any means. We look at our, community as community partners. We're doing a new ground up development in St. Peter that's in concert with the city. We're doing Tier 2 grant funding with the city of Renville. I was just at their city council meeting last night. I could go on and on, but what I'm saying is that this isn't, you give this to me now and then I'm gone, tailgate insurance as they call it, right? So we're very open to, we want your input. We want your involvement because at some point we want to come to you with a great idea that you can partner with us and we can deploy some capital in that community.
I guess from my standpoint, I would concur with what Anthony is saying here, because since the beginning, I've been working with these guys since about 2021, and they've been very upfront. They've approached us before they've done anything. Like when they were looking at establishing the co-op, they did come forward and explain exactly what they're proposing, and went over it more than once. And then as the process continued, they gave us updates, or gave me updates. So I guess at this point, I would concur that they have been a very friendly partner with not only the community out there, but with the city.
We certainly can invite them back every year to just give us an update. It's what's going on out there. Keep us in the loop.
We'll be having a community event at some point too, where the homes will be opened up, and I can certainly, send out, keep you abreast of that as well.
Oh, that would be
So,
great.
yeah.
Thank you.
So, Steve, I just want to clarify what you're asking the council to make a decision on tonight. Can you?
I'm asking you to agree that they're currently considered a legal, non-conforming use, and at the park, that there is, it's It's a defined area, and all they're trying to do is continue to fill that area. They're not expanding outside the confines of whatever the legal description of the park is. So this is considered part of that legal non-conforming use, what
And
they're proposing to do.
Mark's looked at it, and
Yeah, I've had a couple conversations with him about this.
And it was discussed at planning and zoning.
That part, the legal non-conforming use, not so much.
Okay, but about establishing mobile park
Yeah,
lots.
that's more of a legal
Yes,
interpretation, and so that's why again, I spoke to Mark a couple times last week about this, and we talked it through quite lengthy.
So I think one more question. So could someone from out of town want to move a manufactured home in to the current open spaces? Is that allowed? And are there anything about, it has to be a certain year or a certain,
Yeah, it would all have to be brought up to code, in terms of, there's HUD code when you bring in a used home, and there's a lot of stuff that you have to do to legally set a used home. That's why we don't do used homes, because it's a lot. But yeah, I mean,
so there'd be some control on that?
yeah, absolutely. And you see that, in the 17 communities of just Minnesota, it's just, everybody says they want to do it, but they end up usually not doing it. So, the term mobile is kind of a misnomer in a way.
Yeah.
Part of that
Thank
too
you.
is, as you may realize, our building inspector would have to inspect any building that gets moved in, has to be inspected before it gets moved, so.
Okay, good, thank you.
When the current owners of those other ones move out, nobody's allowed to buy them yet, are they?
I'm sorry, what's,
The current houses that are out there, when those people move out of their homes, do you guys have like an age restriction where if the trailer's so old, you can't sell it again, or how is that? Just as far as making sure that these trailers are moving out as they should be.
we do everything in our ability to advise them against it, right? Because we just help facilitate. We don't have an actual stake other than a contract that we're providing them technical assistance. But I've had those conversations. I've gone to some of the board meetings, and I'm like, typically what they do is they'll have rules in place that, let's say you just this dilapidated unit that you got to do X, Y, and Z to bring it up to par. So yes, there is a mechanism in place. And then typically what we're wanting our co-ops to do is for that person to show that they have, most people can go and maybe buy a trailer for $1,000, but not everybody has $30,000 for the renovations that it needs. So that comes up though, it's a good question, comes up all the time. All the time. And that's where we have to really encourage people and put time frames on them. Like if somebody's gonna come in and rehab, you gotta set some expectations, right? It's gotta be done in 90 days. You gotta show proof of funds that you're able to do this stuff. So that's where we're like, do you want 7,000 for us to yank it out of here? So
You don't necessarily have a rule on that yet?
Oh.
Other than, as far, like I said, there's not like an age limit to the trailers that can be sold.
not necessarily an age limit per se, but they do have,
A checklist of making sure it's up to par.
yeah, they do have in their rules about resale.
Because I know you go to like some of these places where it's like, if a trailer is X many years old, basically if somebody else comes and buys or leases that lot, they have to replace that unit within so many years. or something
Yeah.
like that. And I know that's a thing. And so I was just curious if that's something.
Yeah, the age restriction, that's not in the regulations, just because again, the change of ownership kind of creates a whole new set of standards that the home needs to be brought up to, so, yeah.
That's all I got for now.
Okay, so if no one has any other questions, we are looking for a motion to approve Co-North Homes LLC and El Nuevo, is it Amanasir?
I'm on it, sir.
Amanasir Mobile Home Parks proposal to add I cannot read tonight, 4 new units to the park contingent on building permit approvals.
I'll make the motion.
So we have a motion from Groko. Do we have a second? We don't have a second, so the motion failed.
Can we comment again?
Yeah, we have nothing to vote on.
I would just like, to say, I'm in favor, and I think Tony seems to be in favor of this going on. I just, without having some more of these answers, I just don't feel comfortable making a decision. Without having a little bit more knowledge on what the rules are in the park and what the daily, how the function is, as well as just what state rules are as far as enforcing those and how that process works. And I mean, like, I appreciate for his open and for the work you guys have put into it, but I just, like I said, I just don't feel comfortable without having more of that information. I mean, Tony, what's your thoughts? Do you kind of the same way?
Yeah, I guess my concern is with something that you probably don't have a lot of control over, and it's the same thing, the existing, and the people that are currently there, it seems like what happens is some leave, and then the people that are actually in the unit now don't even own that trailer. That's what's been brought up, and what are we gonna do with those things? What options do we have?
Is this all stuff we can figure out and bring back for our next meeting? In an effort to work with these guys and get this moving, just try and get some of these questions and concerns answered in the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, we would be able to come back in a couple of weeks.
Because I mean, that way at our next meeting, what, August 3rd or
Fifth.
whatever? Or 5th, we can make a decision, so that way, you know, these guys can move ahead or, you know, figure out what they gotta do, and at least us as a city are comfortable with that decision.
I think it's really important to have Mark here.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't know he was not going to be here. Okay.
So this time we be tabling it, or?
Well, you can table it, yeah. I mean, if you want to bring this back.
Does that work with you guys? I mean, I wanna work with you guys, so I mean, how, is that?
Well, they have trailers possibly
I
being
mean,
delivered
and that's why I
tomorrow.
wanna
Yeah.
make it clear that I wanna work, I just, I
And I also
Tony
think
seems to be
like some of the
same boat.
things that you guys want, we don't have, I mean, you can't displace people, you can't force them out of their homes. So I mean, I think we have to wrap our brains around that too. You
Right.
might not like how they live, but we cannot force them out of their homes.
So also, I'm just wondering, so if we don't go through with this, so if we say, nope, don't want to do it, then what happens? Then everything just stays the way it is, right? We still have nothing, correct?
How I feel about, I want to move forward with it. I just wanna have some of these things answered and have a plan in place moving forward. Because, like I said, for the amount of time that the city's stuck into working with this already, and our own investment and our own issues we've dealt with over the past, I mean, like I said, predating all of us on council, especially me, obviously being newer. I just don't wanna make a decision that we
I
get in a
understand.
spot where we don't have, I shouldn't say don't have say, but just, I don't wanna allow, like I said, if there's a health or safety issue or, and like not have a plan of how this is gonna progress as a project. You know,
Agreed. It'd
obviously
be
we have
nice
a
if Mark would be here, because he could
Correct, and-
answer
and-
those things for us, because I just don't know.
and I think this,
Without them, I don't know what kind of control we will ever.
correct, and we might not have any. I
And
just,
that's what, you know, I don't know that answer. So, yes.
and
Well,
without
that's-
Mark being here, it's just,
That's the only thing that, another thing that's kind of upsetting is, once you approve that, then.
that's free
it's
game.
over. And I don't doubt that you're gonna bring, nice, units in here. That's not the issue. I guess the issue is what we currently have and how we can handle that. And I get everybody has a right to live, how they want, but I think that there's other things going on down there that need to be addressed, like if the person that's living there is actually the owner, because if they're not, then there's other things that you can do.
So basically tonight, by taking no action, we're not in a position to approve those building permits that they've submitted. So that means that they will not be able to move those units in.
But if we table it till next meeting, I have every intention, once we get our answers, to move ahead with this. I know we've said it 4 times now, but I want to know where we stand as a city on it. And I want to trust these guys, but obviously, I mean, you guys are in business and you guys do your due diligence and stuff too. And us as a city, I want to do our due diligence on it. Just as much as, tri-line, or as much as, a fire engine or buying property. I want to make sure we do our due diligence.
Is there any way we can know if the people out there that are in trailers own those trailers? Is there any way we can know that?
With working through them, I mean,
You know what I'm saying?
Is it like a house where?
Yeah, like you
you're-
know
have your
who's there.
address and you know who owns lot 32?
I mean, they obviously would have a record of who owns what. We don't have that.
But
you know.
also as like a homeowner, I can let whoever I want live in my house, and I can move somewhere else. I mean, I just think we want control here that I'm not sure we're entitled to.
Well, that's why we need
yeah,
more,
Mark.
make sure that we're not crossing any lines.
And Tony hit the nail on the coffin too about, it's not the new homes. The new homes seem great. It's what's there.
But again, I think you want control over what's there that we might not have. We probably don't have.
I mean, we just tore down a dilapidated building over there. So I mean, as a city, I think we have the right to look out for the public safety.
That was tax forfeiture, or, I mean, that was a property soon to be in tax forfeiture. That was empty, unoccupied, no one was living there,
Property owner gave us permission to do so, too.
yes.
And
So
we
the-
had to pay.
Huh?
And we paid.
Paid.
So the consensus would be to table this for the next meeting, have Mark here to answer some of these questions to.
What's this going to mean to you?
Well, we've got homes that are scheduled to be coming. So that is unfortunate.
How about this, and just an idea to move this forward? Could we basically allow them to move forward with installing them, all that stuff, but basically get us these answers before we actually allow occupancy? I mean, is that, before we'd allow occupancy of it? I mean, is that something we can do? Because that way they can move ahead with them, and they're confident, and I'm confident in them too, but I just want to make sure we're guaranteed some of these answers, and that we can, because if they're confident in themselves, it shouldn't be a problem that, yeah, we'll get you these answers, and we know we will, therefore, we're going to go ahead with putting these trailers there, knowing that we want to move ahead with them, but we want to make sure that we're doing what we can as a city to look out for our own
Right
constituents.
now, you're just planning on moving them in. You're not necessarily setting them?
Well,
What are you doing?
you can only have them sit on their wheels for so long. I could defer to Dan on,
Come in on a chassis, cambered chassis. And so when we put them on their blocks, everything levels down, we anchor them down to the foundation system. So what Tony's saying is that if they're sitting, Anthony's saying is that they sit too long like that, it's hard for everything to go back into place. They go down the road like this. And what we do is make them come back like this, right? So that would be an issue. If they sit too long, but we can temporarily block them.
But 2 weeks ain't, I mean, our next meeting's in 2 weeks, so it's not going to be sitting there for months if we don't do anything.
I think the biggest concern is that they're built, they're at the factory, and they're sitting there now, and it's gonna cost money, every day we wait, it costs money. To leave them there. They're ready to move them, get them out.
How does it cost the money?
Because they'll charge you a storage fee
Okay,
at the factory.
okay.
Build a lot of them every single day, and they're shipping, and we were scheduled to start receiving, soon, this week.
So based, obviously you've heard some of our concerns. I mean, are those things you guys are confident you can work with the co-op to get our answers and get a plan in place. So like I said, if maybe,
What
If-
kind
if
of
it
plan
works-
do you want? I don't know what you want, because I think the plan you want is not possible. We cannot force people out of their houses. We can't. So we can't have a
we can't force
timeline.
them out of their houses,
We
but,
can't have a timeline for removing these old trailers.
but how do you know that? Because we don't have a lawyer here to say that. You know, it's no different, like I said, than an
I don't
apartment.
think you can
building.
either. I don't think, I mean,
And at the end of the day, it's the co-op's property. And if they have rules and guidelines, I mean, well, if they can't enforce them, well, they might as well throw the rules and guidelines away then.
Just wanted to, if I can comment on that. The one thing I will say is, in terms of what I kind of got of a plan, I don't know. I mean, it's a legal gray area. We've never been asked for anything like that, for a building permit about currently what's going on with our residents. We'll have to consult our legal. We feel that we're licensed by the state of Minnesota, for 30 units, and 14 of those are vacant, and that, a condition of a building permit should not be predicated on some of the questions that you're asking. So there's a little bit of something that legally I can't answer, but we will get on that tomorrow because it's something that, we weren't really expecting, because if I were to come here in 2023, I wouldn't be sitting here. I would have applied for a building permit, and I would have gone through the necessary steps that the city wanted me to. It's because something happened and was not in the new zoning that was indoctored in, 2024, I believe? So right after we had purchased. So because of that issue, that's why I'm here today. It's not, I never have a problem coming here and telling you what we're doing at all. I'm just saying that when you really look at the genesis of why I am here, it was, in 2023, I wouldn't be here, and I'd probably have a building permit, and there'd probably be homes there. So that's just a little bit that, I think needs to be disclosed. So, and I, from my layman standpoint, I don't see how, there is good legal authority to deny a building permit.
So for the purpose that we're talking about now, lawyers and attorneys, I think that we should not, I think we should get information and talk about this in 5 weeks with our own attorney and let them talk to theirs. I don't, like he said, I don't think there's any more reason to continue talking about it when we don't know what either of us, where we sit.
okay, so you're basically saying they can't move in,
Well,
not at this time.
that's, and like I said, now, I mean, he's kind of saying that he thinks he has every authority to, and I don't know if as a city where we sit either.
Well-
And there's no lawyer present, and I just don't think
I
we.
mean, the city has the right to
as
change
stewards
its
of
code, and the
Correct.
code is what it is today, so we're following what the code says today. So
And that's
we-
what I'm saying, so I think we should just do our due diligence and let them do theirs, and then we'll talk about it on August 5th, and I'm more than happy to go forward with it once you know where we all stand. I mean, we got, one vote already, and I think Tony and I probably sit in the same boat, that we're happy to see progress, but we just want to make sure our answers are, that we're doing the right thing for the city and for the health of the people. I mean, correct, if you guys have a different opinion, I mean, we all kind of spoken, but.
Hey, guys. Mind if I talk just for a minute? My name's
Sure.
Dan. I'm the qualifying person for MHR. We're mobile home installers, manufactured home installers, modular home installers. I guess, Mr. Rose, your question is, you're concerned about the existing houses and the condition of them, right? The
Basically.
safety of them, all of that. Can I ask you a question? Sure. Stick-built houses, individual lots. If there's something dilapidated, you said you just tore one down. How did you get permission to do that? What happens if you're driving down and you see fascia hanging off, siding hanging off, broken windows? Does your building official for Gaylord issue a citation, a fix-it type thing? And if so, why couldn't you do that there?
You can deem it a hazardous building,
You could, right?
and we don't want to go down that route with you guys. I mean, obviously, we want to see.
We
progress
wouldn't,
and-
our houses are brand new.
Correct, and that's not the problem.
Right,
it's the-
you're talking about the existing structure. So what's
Correct.
to stop you or your building official from going into the park and saying, there's a hole in that siding right there, we think that's unsafe, you need to fix it? There are funds out there called fix-up funds, county funds, state funds, that, I mean, it's affordable housing, let's call a duck, right? It's affordable housing, these people are there for a reason, most of them. And there's funds available to them. You have Anthony here, and their company gives them assistance if they can, point them in the right direction. But a lot of times, nothing happens in these situations until a citation or a warning is issued. I mean, the HOA or the co-op, it's just like an HOA, like he was saying. They'll have their rules. Skirting must be this, must be that. Your windows, you can't have a broken window. You gotta have a deck, things like that, right? You can't have garbage in your yard. That's that. But if there's something wrong with the structure that's terrible and unsafe, in any house, any stick-built house, is there anything that the city of Gaylord does to go to those individual residents and issue them a citation? And if so, couldn't you do that there?
And that's where I think it's important we talk to our attorney and our building inspector.
I mean, does
That's
that
what we're trying to
happen?
figure out. I mean, that's-
Okay.
'cause
I'm
I-
not trying to be confrontational, I'm just asking, if there's already a policy in place within the city of Gaylord,
I think one of the important things too is that we have two separate things going on.
Right.
We have
Right.
existing homes and we have the new homes that are being put in. And that's where I kind of said that, in terms of legalities from my perspective, is that you can't base these building permits on the other issue. They're kind of siloed in what's going on here. We're willing to help with the city to deal with the other issue, but we really have to focus on what's going on in front of us with the 4 new building permits and be able to do that part of it, address that part of the problem.
thank you.
Ultimately, it comes down to the zoning issue. You're asking for a zoning variance is really what it is. I mean, so this,
Again, from our attorney standpoint, he's basically advising that this is a legal non-conforming use, and that they could add these 4 units.
like I said, I'd like to table it and have him here to say, because either way, I don't feel comfortable making a decision, especially with where we're at on that property over the past 15, 20 years. I want to look out for the health of our city. And, bringing these trailers in, obviously, can rules be enforced on dilapidation? I don't know. I've never owned a trailer park before. It'd be great to have legal representation to tell us where we actually sit as a city without getting a building inspector in there to deem something hazardous or, go down that road.
Steve, do you know if the police have sent any letters to any of the property owners? I mean, when they're looking at their, properties for problems?
Usually it's just blight type things, garbage, junk, unlicensed vehicles, parts of vehicles, just
Okay.
things of that nature. They're not inspecting the building. And
I know,
saying-
but just wanted to
They're
know
not
if there
looking
were
at the
current
exterior.
problems out
I
there.
mean, there are some there's homes around town, as we're aware, that
Oh, yeah.
need some work too.
This is a business, though.
Excuse me?
This is a business, though, too.
Well,
I mean, it's, obviously, like you said, we can go through town and pick a bunch of stuff apart, but, I mean, this is obviously this is at hand right here. And I mean, we're doing our best as a city to try and clean up some of these things. We have a guy on the south side of town, we tore down a building, we've been in talks with Red Brick, the dirt pile over there. These are all things we've made progress on. And I want to continue that progress in town. And like I said, without having a lawyer here to say where we actually sit on this and be able to figure out a way to work together to make sure we're all where we need to be, I don't feel comfortable making that decision.
I understand, I guess, I'm kind of.
And I know, like,
along
I've
the
sent
lines
you an
what Dawn
email.
is saying, we just simply can't displace people. You can't simply say, you don't fix up your home, you can't live there anymore. We can't say that.
And I'm sorry that I'm stuck on this, but our attorney did say that this was illegal use. So like, we already have that from our attorney. And again, these are two separate issues, and isn't bringing in new houses progress? You talk about the health and safety, we're giving our residents clean, new options for housing. Isn't that progress?
Correct, but are we gonna allow the bad ones possibly there?
I've
I
said
don't
it
know
a
if we're
million
looking-
times, we cannot kick people out of their houses.
I
The
just
city-
don't
the
know if
city-
we're
the
looking
city
at two
can't.
separate issues. Like, are we
Yes,
looking
they're
at
two
just the
separate
building,
issues.
just,
So-
this is just, we're looking at just approving, we can't think about how it's being operated because I don't believe we have control over how it's being operated.
They do though.
They're asking us to approve for 4 new homes to be moved in. And if they comply with, as Mark has said, non-conforming use, if that should be what we're looking at. I might be wrong, I'm just thinking that the rest of it is all an operation thing. The company, we're not talking about that. Yes, that's important to us, but I don't know if that's got to do with them moving 4 new pieces of
Right.
houses in
And if
here.
we want to bring like their board chair, or what's her title, the woman that couldn't be here tonight?
It's board chair.
Board chair, we want to invite her to a work session and talk about those other properties, that's appropriate. But we're trying to use one issue to address another
To
issue,
fix
and they're
another.
two separate things.
So maybe a way to move forward, we allow these 4 houses, but then I think as a council, we should talk to our lawyers and just figure out what we gotta do as far as making sure that obviously the existing houses are up to par.
And I think that
rules are
comes
being
in our
enforced
planning and zoning.
Under state law as well as city ordinance, and I mean even their own rules. And like, again, where I wanna work with, I'm happy to do it, I don't know where we sit. I'm not a lawyer, neither are any of us. And I understand, but I don't wanna get ourselves into something without really knowing where we sit on everything. You know, and so I guess I'm fine with moving forward with the 4, as long as we as a council agree that we should see what we can do working with these guys, as far as making sure that these rules are enforced and that making sure that health and safety is utmost priority down there, and that there's generally a path forward in this, for everybody.
And
And
I
like,
agree
I'm
with
fine
what-
with that, and I'm
yeah.
happy to have this conversation. I like, this is good dialect, I think. but-
Yeah, in my opinion, again, I think that, now knowing, Mark's opinion on this, and I think that, that co-op needs to understand that we do need to move forward with some action on those homes. We just can't let them continue, whether that's through the police department, like the gentleman recommended. They can enforce our city ordinances, and they can do something about it. And I think that if the co-op can help them with getting money from the state to make improvements to it, once they get a citation, then hopefully that'll make improvements down there. Because it's terrible to see the people living like that, and you want to make it better for them, so.
Thank you.
Yeah. So with that said, I guess I would make a motion to approve the request to deem it, what was it?
To add 4 new units to the
Just
park
add 4 new.
contingent upon building permits approval.
Thank you, Don.
Okay. So we have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Oh, I'll third if I need to.
Yeah. Any more discussion?
In good
or-
faith, though, I just want to,
Okay.
I'll second that too, or I mean, whoever, Lynn or myself.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carried. Next, we need just consensus to direct the Planning and Zoning Commission to establish a mobile home park language in the zoning code. Do we have consensus to let P and Z take it from here?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect.
So, before you leave, I just want you to understand that this issue has been going on a long time, and that was a great idea to just make us think about what options that we do have. Because I think that your units will definitely be beneficial for a lot of people that,
I appreciate all your comments tonight, and like I said, we are open for it. We we would love the opportunity and the resource and to have the partnership. I mean, that's very important. It will help, you know, it's a lot sometimes with these cooperatives and the different states that people are in. And we respect that, we understand that, but we also, I completely understand where you're coming from. I've been on that side of the table before and had to make these tough decisions. And I appreciate your candor and openness. So Steve's got my contact information. Anything that I can provide, please do let me know, so.
Could we just, I mean, get like a list of park rules and stuff, and just, I mean, kind of get little updates and stuff like that too?
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm
it don't
sh-
have to be
yeah.
every day, but I mean, just keep us
Yeah.
up to date on where things are at and how things are being enforced. I mean, obviously, you've heard our
Yeah,
concerns.
yeah, I don't think
I
that.
mean, even if it's once a month or every couple months, I mean, just Steve, have your input, an email or something, just, like I said, just so us as a city, we can keep up on this a little
Yeah.
bit.
Well,
Yeah.
and I do think it's a good idea to occasionally invite the board to come and present at council and just to hear what's going on there.
I mean, it's a major
I think
project
that's a
they're
great
doing.
idea.
Yes.
I mean, they just spent $1.5 million and now, I mean, I don't know, what's a couple $100,000 or whatever a trailer goes for, I don't know, but, I mean, there's a lot of money being spent there, so
Absolutely,
The-
yeah.
The other side is, I think that there's volunteers in our community that would be willing to assist. We just don't know what to do, you know? So that makes a big difference.
Yep.
I'm happy to volunteer and assist your building official. I've done it for other cities and other states, including our own. I live here in Minnesota. But yeah, I mean, it's happens all the time. You know, we don't want anybody having to live like that. But the fact is, a lot of them, like we're saying, just don't have the funds or the means to do things. And there's other factors, you know, drugs, alcohol, whatever, you know, bad decisions, things like that. But if you're building official, I would be happy to go with him.
And I've also seen some well-run
Right.
trailer parks.
Yes.
And
it's a
I'd
beautiful
love
piece
to
of
get us
property.
there.
It really
There are,
is.
some of our neighboring communities have wonderful, well-run parks. And I
Right.
hope that that's our goal, and maybe we can support the board in getting them there.
Right.
And our organization has been a part of some success stories
For sure.
throughout the state of Minnesota. And so, you know, sometimes there's these incremental changes and it can seem slow, you know, and I never want to come and promise you something that I just don't feel that I can deliver. What I can promise you is that there's 4 homes. They're going to be coming down the road, and I'm going to put them there and work on getting buyers. But we do have those success stories as well. But, you know, some of them, it's kind of like turning around the cruise ship in the middle of the ocean. It takes a little bit. And, but we're in the right direction right now. And, you know, it's good that you guys are open, because I think a lot of times in these communities, they don't really feel a part of the community. You know, they feel like an afterthought. They feel like they just want us away. They don't want us a part of what's going on. And it sounds to me like that's not the case.
Right.
But you guys are being diligent about, you know, being stewards of your resources. So nothing wrong with that.
Thank you.
Well, thank you both very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Again, you can stay, but you're,
Thanks for
feel free
the
to leave. You've been here long enough.
intense conversation.
Next on the agenda is Planning Zoning Commission appointment, unless someone changed their mind sitting through this long meeting.
Might have further cemented that.
Well, thank you. I received a very well-written letter from Dr. Kristen Burgess, who's here with us tonight, and she's very talented. I mean, all your credentials, you're more than qualified to serve on our Planning and Zoning Commission. So I would like to, you know, we've been short a spot ever since Steve Berner passed away. So I'd like a motion tonight to approve Dr. Kristen Burgess to be appointed to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
So move.
That was super fast. Motion by Rose. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Padilla. Any discussion or comments?
Jessica's not here tonight, so.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for your willingness to serve. I think you will be a great asset to the committee. So, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carried. Okay, next we have ordinance number 386, an ordinance amending the City of Gaylord zoning map.
Okay, this is an item that went through our Planning and Zoning Commission earlier this month. This is basically a correction in our zoning map. We have 2 properties currently that have been assigned two zoning classifications, which is illegal, basically, because each zoning classification has its own rules and requirements, and so you can't apply two different classifications to the same property. The properties in question, the first one is the old school. Basically, the gymnasium, about half of it is zoned B1, which is our fringe business district, and the other half is R1, which is our single-family residential district. The rest of the property is all zoned B2. So the recommendation coming from the planning and zoning is to rezone that to 100% B2. It seems to make it more practical. I mean, it's more likely that there's going to be commercial activity there versus all residential. So talked to the current owner, Clark Weekly. He agrees he would like it to be rezoned or changed, so it's all B2. The other one in question is immediately to the north, which is the small house that's owned by Mike Nyson. That house includes the parking lot that's immediately to the south. Basically, at this point in time, the house is zoned B2 and the parking lot is zoned R1. Mike has visions or plans to sell the property, and I've actually spoken with the prospective buyer who wants to fix it up and rent out the house. And so Mike would like to see the property rezoned to R1, our single-family residential, simply because then he could use it for the purpose or sell it for the purpose that the buyer wants to use it for. By rezoning it to B2, we do not allow for single-family residential in that zoning classification. So that basically would mean that we would have to amend our zoning code to allow that in that district. The commission did talk about that last week, and they had some reservations about that, because then that opens the door for other residential rental dwellings throughout the B2 district. It wasn't an easy discussion. They did go back and forth about it. Mainly, I think, I put a copy of a new zoning map, what reflects that change, just so you could see what it would look like. I circled it where it is on there. So you can see that there's like a little bump in of where that R1 would be in comparison to the rest of it. It is legal because it does abut to the east or behind the house there, to the R1 district, so it is already abutting up to it. So it just might look a little unusual, but it is a legal way of doing it. So that's what they're proposing, is to leave, or basically change that so the property would be all R1. So basically it could be sold and used for that use, for basically what they're proposing is a rental dwelling unit.
Is anyone in there now? I've just been seeing various vehicles parked in that lot.
I think he's using it as a staging area for his dump trucks.
Oh, okay, because I've seen dump trucks, I've seen personal vehicles, minivans. I was just wondering what was going on there.
That's a different conversation, I think.
Okay. Sorry, don't open that can of worms. It's getting
Yeah.
late.
So those are the recommendations coming from the Planning and Zoning Commission. They held a public hearing on it. There was no public comment on it. Again, I spoke to both of the property owners, and that was their wishes.
To go to R1.
Well, the school would go to B2, and the house would go to R1.
And just sort of, I think I know how I feel about this, but as far, I know they talked about doing that rental unit just to the north of that yet with the
Yep.
chicken coops. So if that would happen, that would have to be rezoned to R2 then,
We
correct?
we
I
do
mean, just-
allow for multiple family, which is apartments, in the B2 as a conditional use. This would be a rental
Okay.
dwelling.
Yep, and it's already, that part is, okay.
So it's basically a single-family house that would be rented out. So look at it that way. So it's a single-family house rented out. So it's not a multiple family.
But realistic, I mean, like if, I know that guy to the north talked about buying it possibly, I mean, you just, he can request for it to be rezoned at that point.
Sure,
Hypothetically.
right,
Just-
yes.
Okay.
So there is a ordinance in your packet, ordinance number 386, that basically identifies the changes as been presented here tonight. The zoning map would be included with, that I put on your table tonight, would be included with the ordinance. And then that would be, we'd update our map accordingly. So basically, this is an update or amendment to our zoning map.
Would anyone like to make a motion to adopt ordinance number 386, an ordinance amending the City of Gaylord zoning map?
So moved.
We have a motion from Padilla. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Rose. Any further discussion?
This will be considered the first reading then.
Got it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carried. Moving on to 11E, we have Resolution 2026-18, approving the appointment of election judges for the 2026 primary and general elections.
So the election judges are listed there, and also in the resolution is a proposed increase in their compensation. For 2024 elections, the judges were compensated $11 an hour, and the head judge was $14, and proposes to bump them up $1 per hour for both. Just for information, Lori Waltz did reach out to the cities of Arlington and Winthrop, and they pay $15 per hour for their judges.
Regardless
All
of
of
like
them?
the head judge.
She didn't get a quote for their head judge from Arlington, but Winthrop gives them, they pay $15.50,
Okay.
so not a whole lot more.
We need a motion to approve Resolution 2026-18, approving the appointment of the city general election judges and alternates for the August 11th, 2026 primary election and the November 3rd, 2026 general election.
So move.
We have a motion from Rose. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Groko. Any further discussion or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carried. Moving on to 11F, we have the Fourth Amendment to the Ambulance Service Agreement.
Our current agreement expires here at the end of this month with Ridgeview Ambulance Service. As you know, the ambulance fee has been increasing over the last few years, quite substantially, actually. And they basically are, we've had Mark Anderson here several times, and included in the packet is an email from him. And basically, he has said this several times, as you know, and we've actually looked into this somewhat, but we haven't gone the distance, so to speak. But basically, he has been recommending that we would combine with another ambulance service such as Arlington. He believes then we would be bringing in enough transport revenue that we wouldn't have such a large fee with Ridgeview. Right now, the fee is proposed in this amendment to the agreement to go up from $195,000 in the past year here to $225,000. It was almost, last year, you might recall, we went up about $50,000 was the increase. So this is another pretty substantial increase for the coming year here. Again, this runs from August 1st through July 31st is our contract agreement. We had them, as you know, here earlier this year in a work session. We had a conversation then.
Have we looked at, we used to have that BLS before with the city held the license on that and had employees, city employees that were running that ambulance. Is that a bridge too far to go back to something like that with city employees?
I'm going by memory here a little bit, but I believe we had that discussion during the work session, and in light of some, when we had some staff changes. We had one person in town here that was ALS and was doing a grand majority or a lot of calls. When that person retired, that put a lot of strain on the service because they didn't have the manpower. Well, that person wasn't charging for on-call because they were out of their home, whereas any people right now, they're getting paid to be on call. So that was a big difference in the compensation, and that certainly had some bearing on our overall cost. But as I'm kind of going by memory here, so pardon me, but as I recall, you did have that discussion with Mark when he was here, and it was your election to continue with the ALS structure. Mm-hmm. It isn't always ALS, but we do get that service.
I just think maybe next year a little sooner, if we could find out what the cost would be to have our own city employees, because then the city gets all the money from all of those runs, and we're already paying for the ambulance and all that equipment, so what would be the comparison if the city did it itself and had city employees sitting down there versus Ridgeview?
So basically going back to our past structure where we would.
No, having like employees like they do right now, but just city instead of Ridgeview.
Kind of like Arlington kind of does.
Yeah,
Well, isn't that what I'm saying? We used to have our own city staff.
but they were all on call.
Yeah, you're saying have paid.
Have paid.
Like if we would advertise for ambulance personnel and pay them hourly, so employees. To sit, where previously we were volunteer, mostly
Yes.
volunteer service.
Like he just said, like Arlington's doing right now, where they're basically paying their staff,
Correct.
and there's no on-call pay, they're just getting full-time pay or whatever it is.
Correct. Is there a savings in that? Or,
I think we need to look into all our options. I think we look into that. I talked to Steve today about maybe we could reach out to Alina. There's a lot of Alina hospitals and ambulances around, surrounding us. I think we need to, I mean, we've been talking to other cities about the police department. I think we need to see if any other cities would sit down and talk with us about combining ambulance services. I think in the next year, we have got to make this a priority. And we can't afford a huge increase like that. So I think in the next year, we need to explore every option out there.
you know, one of the other things I keep mentioning is when we first got this service, they talked about community care. And they talked about it last year when we met, but there's still, I don't see a plan for the community care piece. I don't see them going out into our community, and they could go to the senior center and just answer questions someday when they're meeting about maybe issues or expired medication. I don't know, but they're not going out into our community.
They do some.
I haven't seen them out. I don't see that on the list at all either.
I know recently they were over at the senior center doing a CPR class.
That's awesome.
I mean, I think they've been over to the library. They held something over there this year as well.
Mark was fantastic at doing it. He was always out there doing things. And I just think we kind of lost some of that when he left.
And based on what I just said, I mean, I do think we've been very lucky with staff, and I'm not, you know, by saying we need to look elsewhere isn't a attack on Ridgeview, but
No.
we
Looking at
just,
options, though.
I look at this cost and just gulp at it, like, oh, we gotta do something.
So just throwing this out there, I mean, if we renew this now, just go ahead, you know, for another year. But then, I mean, obviously, we have a tri-line and the street project and a new public works director and all kinds of stuff. I mean, can we just plan on having this be like a November, December meeting? And have like a special meeting and, I mean, go down the path of, you know, do we look at, you know, maybe Alina or Mayo? Do we look at a city-ran facility? Do we look at, you know, go working with Winthrop Gibbon, working with Arlington? I mean, can we just, not to push it down, but I think Steve can probably attest to, there's a lot going on now. And I guess I like to focus on, we'll get this tri-line thing figured out, get Ty's position rehired, get, you know, some of these other
It might be
things.
better to do like January, February, when
Yeah.
things are a little
And-
bit,
and-
we're not in the, you know,
And I mean, obviously, we'll have some new council members in too, and maybe with some new ideas.
Yeah.
Not to.
I think every idea is
But
on the table.
I think that'd be the better plan, make it a winter project.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I mean, just move forward with it, but
Yeah,
I just think it's so important to have that
it is,
right here in
absolutely.
our town, you know. They're fast, they're there. Having a paramedic, man, what a difference that makes.
Yeah.
But I think that we gotta do it. We talk about it, but we just gotta look at it.
Well, also, Mark stated that, you know, he won't absorb that kind of a loss
Yeah.
again.
Correct.
So that, I mean, we really don't have a choice.
That's what makes me,
Have to figure
makes
it
me
out.
gulp, like.
Or we're not gonna have anybody.
And that's just where I'm saying, let's get, I mean, if we check these other
We
things
just
off and
need
then
to-
focus,
yep.
make that the focus for the winter. I mean, obviously, next year we'll be talking about a water plant project a little bit, but I mean, I don't think Steve was expecting an open department head and, you know, obviously a number of other projects that have popped up.
Right.
I mean, does that sound fine with you too? I mean, if we.
I would prefer if we push it out a little bit. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, let's plan on that I think it's a good winter project too.
Agreed.
Because I mean, we have till next basically, I mean, obviously you want to plan in place before then, but next summer.
Absolutely, like, I'd say January, we need to like be starting this.
So not June?
So let's,
No, January.
so let's schedule a special meeting for January.
Yeah.
Yeah.
8 months from now.
We can do that.
No.
We can do it.
Touch base, come. as
So
you
right
close
now,
it.
we just have to approve this, though,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so tonight we need a motion to approve the Fourth Amendment to the ambulance service agreement.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Rose, seconded by Padilla. Any other questions or comments?
Just to throw in, I mean, kind of what Tony said, just about community involvement, and I know I sent you an email too about making sure rigs are cleaned, and, I mean, it's still our property. This stuff's taken care of.
And
And with the intention of the city, obviously doing our share this winter and figuring out more of a long-term plan. Is that, I mean, talk to Mark about that. And
Yep. Yep.
just if you know that they're doing something, it'd just be nice to know that they're going to the senior
Sure.
center.
Kind of be nice, not just kind of say it all this, but it'd be really nice if they put it in their annual report.
Yes. Because I just see their run totals.
Yeah, and it'd be nice to maybe know about some of that stuff in advance. Like, I'm sure the groups they're visiting
Yes.
to, but there might be other people that would like to attend that.
And just to throw it out there too, I mean, they helped with the fire department, we needed a new AED, so they, got us that and whatnot. I mean, just to kind of, they helped a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Go back to the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carried. Okay, moving on to 11G, we have to schedule a work session meeting to discuss the 2027 water plant improvement project.
Yeah, so I did get finally to meet with the county, and county attorney did agree that, in his interpretation anyway, the state statute, that there is an opportunity for special assessing a portion of the project. He did.
Are you
This
talking
is
about the
dam or
county?
the,
Oh, did I jump
We're
ahead?
talking about just, we
pardon
just
me?
need to schedule a meeting. So you get,
well, if the county wants to pay for the
I
water
jumped ahead.
plant,
yeah,
that's fine.
no.
Let's back
So
up.
we just
I'm
need a
sorry.
motion to schedule a special
Getting
city
late.
council meeting.
Kind of losing track here.
Yeah, but if the county wants to pay for it, I'm sold.
Okay, pardon me, I jumped ahead. The water plant, so we're looking for a work session meeting, an SEH, I'd like to invite them in and just go over the scope of the project. Again, this is a plan for next year, and so we want to make sure that everybody's on the same page as far as what we're going to be looking at doing here, so then they could put together their proposal that'll lead up to their proposal for developing the plans for the project.
Got it. So, yeah, we're looking to schedule that at 5:30 PM on August 5th. Tony, I believe, are you going to be gone on August 5th?
I am going to be gone right after National Night Out, I'm leaving.
Okay. Are you okay with us having the work session without you, or would you like to?
No, I mean, Lane's got a lot of experience with those water plants.
Okay, we'll fill you
Well-
in when you get back.
It's early too, I mean, we'll have more conversation
Okay.
throughout. Obviously, once a new director gets on board too, we'll probably
Yeah.
talk again, so.
Sure. Okay, so we need a motion to schedule a special city council meeting for 5:30 PM on August 5th, 2026, for the purpose of reviewing the project scope for the 2027 water plant improvement project.
So move.
We have a motion by Rose. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Groko. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carried. Now we can move on to 11H, the Lake Titlow Dam Replacement Project.
Okay. So like I said, the county attorney has agreed that there is, in his interpretation of statute, there is an opportunity to potentially assess a portion of the Lake Titlow Dam Replacement Project. He did state, though, that the ditch authority, which is the county board, would have to approve of such. And so what they recommended, I was meeting with Don Lanoy and Mary Lee Peterson, and what they suggested was a work session with the county board to basically discuss that. In addition, I guess I wanted to share some information here. I did reach out to the DNR and had a conversation with them again about, the city's responsibilities. It seems to resurface here when we have this discussion as far as what are we gaining by doing the project? What's the difference going to make if we put in a dam? And I guess the next part of that is, what are we required to do this? And I think that's what I've got here as far as information for you. As provided by the DNR, they basically sent me over Minnesota administrative rules, segments addressing this, as well as some state statute. But more or less, if you had a chance to look through that a little bit, it appears that we are responsible, and if we don't do anything, the potential is there anyway that the commissioner of the DNR could require us to make improvements at some point in time. If there would be maybe some major event that happened, that they would step in and say, hey, guys, you can't wait any longer. You've been sitting on this for decades. You got to do something with it. So the rules basically do identify us as the owner. We are the owner. There's no debating that. We all know that already. We own the property. The dam is ours. So we're the responsible party in this case. One nice thing is, and we have not really delved into this as far as the design at all, because none of the engineering expenses before we sign a grant agreement would be eligible for reimbursement. So we literally haven't gone very far, and we haven't done anything, expending any monies. But I put on your table tonight, he did have another option here or something for to consider, and it kind of looks kind of familiar almost to what we have out there. I mean, we just have a lot of debris, but this is referred to as a rock arch rapids. So you can see how it kind of would flow down there like a rapid would, with rock basically, or kind of some sort of structure going across. It looks like it's rock, but basically it slows the water as it flows through there. So maybe it might be as simple as a dam as that.
Is this more cost efficient?
Yeah, oh yeah. I think
Yeah.
you can just look at it and you can kind of see that.
I know, I mean, it looks cool, I mean, it,
This is, and I figure, I guess this is what I think we were planning the whole time, I think.
Well,
Might be a bumpy ride.
we had been
I know.
talking like a dam in Hutchinson with the Crow River, where it's like flows over the top of the dam. So that was one option. That's what I remember us talking, this is the first time I've actually seen something like
We want the most cost-effective dam.
We
that.
do.
I think this
We do.
looks
We don't
has
need
a lot
no,
of
we don't need a
potential.
Hoover Dam, we just
yeah,
need the dam.
especially with like the state of our lake and the county dish is just draining, we need something functional, you know, we don't need something elaborate.
Yeah, I'll give this, I just got this today, and so I'll send this off to Justin Black.
Awesome.
And they can just kind of at least start cruising it. Keep in mind, you know, our grant is a matching grant, or the appropriation we have, it's a match. So if we spend less than 500,000, or I mean, less than our $500,000 match, we don't get the full 500. So it's gonna be something less, but that's great if it's gonna cost something less, actually.
You know, I think at this, I mean, we're all kind of on board with moving forward. I mean, we all understand some of these repercussions. We're more so at the point of working with the county to figure out funding. Right? And
Yeah.
is that, I mean, as far as a consensus in the direction we're going, right, we're just getting that funding side figured out.
I will
No,
say
I-
regarding funding, Steve and I put in a plug when we met with Michelle Fishbach's representative today, because it is in committee, our request for some federal funds, so we advocated for it
The-
today.
And I mean, if we get partly there, and I mean, I think the ditch department, I think, we get charged assessments for, you know, when they do ditch repairs and stuff, and the dam, all that water goes over the dam. So, I think that's a great funding source that if we.
The question they're gonna ask us is, what benefit are those landowners getting by this dam going in? But in some respects, they're already getting the benefit because their water is going into the lake. A lot of
It's water control.
They got drain tiles that are going right into the ditches, and they have property that's abutting, and they're adding to the water that's flowing into the lake and through the lake and downstream.
There's more tile that goes in every day,
Yeah.
you know, which creates more, you know, you need a big pool for it to fluctuate, so don't flood downstream farms out as bad.
So what I was thinking is that either one or two members of the council and myself would attend, maybe Justin Black as well, would attend the work session meeting. They have these on a monthly basis, so it's just a matter of getting on their agenda.
Is there like a third Wednesday kind of deal?
I don't know what it is, but I'm guessing you're
I
probably right.
think they're
It's
usually on
something like that.
Tuesdays.
Yeah, they meet on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Tuesday mornings are usually when they meet.
Can you shoot the dates out for that as well?
Yeah, I'll talk to Mary Lee and see what would work, and
Perfect.
I'll let you guys know if this is okay. And then whoever is available or desires to be there.
I'm on the lake committee, so I'll plan on being there.
Yeah.
I mean, if one more person can, but
Can
I
someone
myself-
else from that committee attend? I mean, would others be?
Whoever you'd want, yeah. It
Yeah,
doesn't.
because I think it would be helpful to have some, you know, to invite the committee to attend too.
Sure.
I mean, they have all the information
Maybe
and
we gotta have Daryl Mosel, he's the
yep.
chair.
Larry Podratz, maybe
Yeah,
have.
those two guys have
ask
been around
those
in
two to
this
come.
forever.
Because the timeline of this is 2028?
Right now, yes, but I think we're gonna have to push that out a year because based on SCH's schedule, they were gonna need a whole year practically just to design it.
Yeah, but if you do
A
something
year
like
and a
this, I
half
can't
to
imagine
do a
that
project.
I
Yeah.
can draw that
But
up.
if it's something
But
like
we
this,
can
this
all
wouldn't.
haul rock
Up,
out
I
there.
think I drew some
Wouldn't
of this
wouldn't
when
think it
I
would take
was
very
Pick
long
up
to
a rock.
design
I'm gonna
that.
start picking up rocks now everywhere I go.
Can add some.
So I guess, I mean, as far as I mean, at this point, in the next few months, figure out funding, and then, I mean, into next year would be that design phase, and then either try for 28 if it works, or 29 for
When do we have to
construction.
use that grant by?
Well, that seems to be a floating date, but right now, we're scheduled to have it, supposed to have the monies expended by the end of 2028.
I couldn't imagine this, we could probably get this done in 28, I mean, that's 2 years from now.
I know.
If you do something like this.
Maybe
but-
we could do that short.
Looks like what's around the pond right now.
Yeah,
Huh.
it's just prettier. Okay,
So far, it seems like everybody's, they're willing to work with us.
Perfect.
good.
I know you want to get going here. What Tony just stated, he's not going to be at the August 5th meeting in this tri-line. It would be nice, we have to make a decision on this soon. I was thinking in August here. I don't know, Scott or Jessica, if they're going to be here for the second meeting in August. That would be the 19th. Right now, where are you guys at as far as the 19th? Are you going to be here for that meeting?
August 19th?
Yes.
I don't know. Is technically our open house, I mean, is that technically, it would be considered a meeting?
It's considered a meeting, but
I just.
mean, I wouldn't,
'Cause I mean,
I wouldn't want to have that kind of.
No, I don't want to have
discussion
that
and
kind of
take that
discussion
vote
there.
at that
Plus, I
kind
think
of-
we need time to like, people might follow up with us that week, you know, in the weeks after, so.
Well, is what I'm saying is if we decide when we want to vote on this at that open house.
Oh,
You know, because I mean, obviously, I
Oh,
think we
announce it?
kind of.
Announce it at the meeting?
well, no, to
Well,
talk to all
as
the
far as-
council members, but we also can email and,
I mean, unless something drastic comes out, I think I kind of know where Tony, I mean, at least we have an idea where we're kind of at, but.
I'm still waiting for him to tell me what he thinks, so,
What do you want me to tell you?
no. I know,
He wants it to
just
be
kidding.
But I mean,
Giving overtime.
I just want I think, given the nature of this decision and the magnitude, everybody should be present for
I
this
agree.
particular one.
So let's just reach out to all the council members, find out if they're gonna be here on the 19th. Are you not sure?
yeah, I have to look at our calendar at home and see what McKenna, I know McKenna had something going on the 20, whatever that weekend is. I
Okay.
don't know.
Well, let's just, and if that date doesn't work, we're gonna have to put our heads together and figure something
Yeah.
out, so.
Okay, okay.
Tony, him and I can both skip the 5th, and then.
Offset.
Then we're good then.
Okay. Whatever works, I will be okay with. Okay, anything else?
No.
Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Motion by Groko. Do we have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Padilla. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion carried.